Shayatet 13.
Whoa.
Israel has a number of special forces units, but the Shayatet 13 is probably the most highly regarded, while simultaneously being among the most secretive.
Yo, what up guys, Kelvin here, and today we're gonna be looking at some of the most elite force in the world. Man, I'm just so excited about this video. Hopefully you guys can get this video an early thumbs up, really help out the channel, and yeah, let's get right in. What is up?
Among the special armed forces of the world's nations are some of the most formidable units ever seen. Designed to go above and beyond the call of duty, everything from their training to their missions goes further than standard military forces, to extremes you'll struggle to believe.
Alright, let's go.
Shayatet 13. The unit, established in 1949, is also referred to as the People of Silence. And from their uniforms, you can tell they're probably very good at silencing other people. While they fought in just about all of Israel's major wars and undertaken dangerous counterinsurgency missions, you've probably never heard much about them. That's because their details are so strictly contained by the Israeli government that very few ever make it into the public eye. What is known about this mysterious unit of Israel's Navy commandos is that it's made up of 3 companies. The raiding company take point on missions involving assassinations, incursions, and counterterrorism. The underwater company, whose name gives away their predominantly maritime roles in submerged and seaborne attacks and recon, and above water company, who operate the Shayatet 13's fleet of boats and submarines for transport and surface attacks. Many special forces units around the world require recruits to have served a minimum amount of military service, and the Shayatet 13 recruits have to meet a particularly high bar.
Dang, they're like the Harvard of assassins, okay? I think they're the elite of the elite.
Application acceptance requires a minimum of 4.5 years of service.
Dang.
That's not including the 20 months of high-intensity training they have to go through first. This starts with basic and further training, both of which are designed to put the troops through the paces of maritime warfare. Then they go through advanced training in combat diving, using unique Shayatet 13 wetsuits and state-of-the-art breathing apparatuses. This training takes the meaning of stealth to a whole new level, as they're barely permitted to let oxygen bubbles escape, and get so intense the commandos have died during exercises. To train in and during enemy capture, Shayatet hopefuls will be mock kidnapped by their superiors and held in prison-like conditions for 2 weeks. Confined and alone, they'll be subjected to horrendous threats of interrogation and violence, and will be forced to perform humiliating activities after being stripped naked. In most parts of the world, this is called torture, but in Israel, it's called training.
Dang, I think this is definitely torture. 2 weeks of just painful activities. I will not be able to survive that,
It's pretty clear this preparation is incredibly brutal and demanding of both body and mind.
Definitely.
So it's not surprising that the dropout rate is extremely high. As you might expect with an organization like this, the exact figure is classified. All we know is that so few make it through that there are years where the unit is barely able to operate due to low numbers. But that hasn't ever stopped them undertaking dangerous missions such as Operation Full Disclosure. This operation took place in 2014 when the Iranian ship Class C was identified as carrying deadly weapons of long-range destruction through the Red Sea. The Shayatet 13 were called in and prepared for every eventuality before successfully seizing the vessel without ever being detected. But even more incredibly, as part of the Lebanon War in 2006, Shayatet 13 commandos were flown hundreds of miles and dropped behind enemy lines to raid the Hezbollah stronghold city of Tyre. It was a suicidal mission, seeing as the Hezbollah commanders were in charge of a rocket launching network and could have annihilated them all in seconds. However, the Shayatet 13 managed to infiltrate and eliminate 30 Hezbollah commanders without losing a single soldier, keeping those rockets well under wrap.
They killed 30 people without losing a single person. Man, they should have made them into a movie or something. I would definitely watch it.
While it's undeniably impressive, these are just 2 of countless victories these veterans have been part of. And quite honestly, it's unlikely that the world will ever hear about most of the missions this secretive unit carries out.
They are impressive.
Alpha Group. Russia takes things pretty seriously when it comes to national security, and this is proven by the existence of the utterly terrifying Alpha Group. with the motto of "Where Alpha appears, compromise stops." You can get an idea of how merciless this Special Forces unit really is. Formed under the command of Russia's secret police, the KGB, in 1974, following terrorist attacks during the Munich Olympics, they were gradually developed into a dedicated counterterrorism task force. Today, they're charged with resolving complex hostage situations in a variety of scenarios, which include storming hijacked buildings, trains, and planes. To ensure the unit includes only the brightest recruits, all potential candidates must have a university degree and are required to spend a minimum of 3 years in training. This
Wow.
includes a grueling phase of infantry training, parachuting, diving, sniper operations, and practical shooting. They also learn a variety of foreign languages and martial arts to actively prepare them for any terrorist situation, with intense psychological training to solidify their allegiance to the Kremlin. Talk about getting in your head. This training makes them a cornerstone of Russia's military power, so much so that a military coup against President Mikhail Gorbachev in 1991 failed because Alpha Group refused to take part. Despite threats of execution by other KGB leaders at the time, Alpha Group remained dedicated in their loyalty and refused to move against the party leadership. Thanks to this, no attack could take place on the parliamentary building, and the coup eventually fell apart like a wet cake.
Dude, if I heard there was like an Alpha group, man, I will not even get close to them. I mean, the name sound already scary enough. Alpha, which means dominant figure, so I will not even want to mess with them.
While Alpha Group are a key vertebrae in the backbone of Russia's military, their reputation as a merciless unit has some terrifying foundations. Back in 1979, they led 700 Soviet troops in the assault on Kabul's Taj Beg Palace. Their orders were simple: kill everyone in the building. With 2,200 people about the premises, including highly trained Army National Soldiers and Palace Guards, the Soviets were ominously outnumbered. Many forces would have wavered, but Alpha Group had been trained from day one to accept all orders without question. They stormed in and, room by room, annihilated approximately 350 people in just 43 minutes. The entire palace had been conquered in less than an hour, forcing the remaining 1,850 troops and guards to surrender.
That is just incredible. 700 versus 2,500 people. They are outnumbered by maybe 3 times, and they still managed to capture every single one of them.
The event solidified Alpha as one of the most ruthless and efficient elite forces on the planet.
Definitely.
Like Mother Russia wasn't terrifying enough already. U.S. Navy SEALs. When Hollywood wants to cash in on the latest military action trend, you'll usually see people based around these guys on your screen. These highly trained individuals, the U.S. Navy SEALs, are renowned for being one of the leading special force units in the U.S. military, and with good reason. Their acronym comes from the fact that they specialize in sea, air, and land operations.
Dang,
and their
I
skills
didn't even
are
know.
just as adaptable as they sound. They can carry out work in a huge range of environments, from deserts and urban areas to jungle and even Arctic conditions.
The name was just a little bit confusing. U.S. Navy SEAL. So I thought they only operate on the ocean. I didn't even know they operate on land, air, and ocean. So I think they sort of changed the name or something to make it less confusing.
But a Navy SEAL's ability to adapt to terrain goes much deeper and is trained for with some crazy exercises. For example, SEALs preparing to enter a cold weather environment will be taken to Kodiak, Alaska. Here, they'll acclimatize by being thrown into an ice river for 8 minutes. Just a few minutes more is enough to kill most humans. These types of drills push them to the brink of hypothermia, but they're vital to their survival and performance in real-world scenarios. But bad weather is barely the half of it. With many of their missions requiring units to be inserted into dangerous territory, conventional transport usually isn't an option. Instead, SEALs are routinely parachuted in, delivered by submarine or high-speed boat, or flown in by helicopter. They're even trained to swim in full combat gear to reach targets. When they reach those targets, that's where the action really begins. SEALs state that their missions primarily include direct action warfare, special reconnaissance, counterterrorism, and foreign internal defense. With stakes as high as these, it means their recruitment process isn't easy, to say the very least. So what does it take to make it into the SEALs? First up, Preparation includes 12 months of basic training.
Whoa,
There's
that's a
nothing
year.
basic about it. Alongside countless sit ups and push ups, candidates will be tied up and thrown into pools where they'll need to complete retrieval tasks
Oh
using
my.
only their teeth. They'll also be taught how to tie and untie 5 different knots underwater without stopping for air in between, and master the combat stroke that'll allow them to swim for tens of miles without submitting to exhaustion. And that's just the start, because if they make it into week 4, they enter Hell Week. It's 5 days and 5 nights of near constant training with just 4 hours of sleep in total.
Oh
As
my.
candidates' brains get soft from sleepiness, they'll train hard by boat running, crawling across mud flats, lifting 300-pound logs, and even go through surf torture. If they do well, instructors may reward them by allowing them to stand by a fire or sleep for just a few minutes. All of this is designed to push physical and mental strength to their absolute limits, ensuring
sure.
they can operate efficiently while oblivious to their own physical comfort. However, the process is so brutal that there have been years where more SEALs have died in training than they have in combat.
Okay, like I just got a question for you guys. If you guys are like a Navy SEAL, can you confirm that they actually do all these gruesome trainings, like sleeping for 4 hours a day for 4 weeks? Man, that is just painful. You know, like when you don't get enough sleep, you just cannot function.
And for those that do survive, up to 80% of candidates who start basic training drop out. Even Olympic athletes have failed to make it to the bitter end. And if they do, it's followed by another 18 months of pre-deployment and intensive specialized training. Although their real-world missions are rarely made public, one of the Navy SEALs' most prolific victories, Operation Neptune Spear, resulted in the elimination of Osama bin Laden. Under cover of darkness, the SEALs were airdropped inside enemy territory and managed to take out one of the most high-profile targets in U.S. history in just 30 minutes. Some people can't even take a shower in that space of time. But just like a shower, the mission was a clean success. But then again, so are the majority of SEALs missions, which are usually over before most people even know they've started.
It was definitely a very impressive video. I really enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on that bell notification, and my social media link is in the description below. And yeah, my name is Kelvin and I see you guys next video.